What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified anytime something comes up on the channel. So today's gonna be a very special day. We have something great in store for you guys, and it's one of the big changes that I've been alluding to for the past couple of weeks, and I'm super excited to share this with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into this change. So this is super huge news for the TBD team. We've decided to go with some Feal Coilovers. Huge shout out to Fastech Motorsports. Also huge shout out to Feal Suspension for making this all happen. So a lot of you guys didn't know this because it's been kind of behind the scenes between round 1 and 2. But when I originally purchased the BMW and started drifting it, it was with the stock 2.5 liter engine and it didn't make a whole lot of power. So through my research, when I was going to get coilovers, I somehow stumbled upon a good idea to do 10K front and 12K rear on the spring setup. So it worked great for all of these years. I had them for 4 years and they performed awesome. I had the BCBR series, but starting to become more and more competition based, we learned that that setup with power is just not where we needed to be. So round 1, we went in with that setup and it was almost like we couldn't stay on power because we weren't gripping at all. We softened the rear dampeners as much as we could and we could still hardly get any traction out of the car, and that was with our 265s aired down to about 15 PSI. We were getting traction, but not where we needed to be, especially competing at Klutch Kickers with all these pro guys with high horsepower cars and high grip levels. So what we decided to do was figure out where we could go with our suspension, and a buddy of mine, Eric, had the same exact coilovers, except his were 10K in the rear. So what we did was we swapped the shocks and springs in the rear from a 12K to a 10K, and we were gonna kind of gauge on where we needed to be from there. So round 2, the car felt completely different. I could mat it to the floor and it would just grip up and sling me sideways, which is what we wanted. We wanted more speed both forward and sideways. I think that the 10K spring really helped us and put us in the right direction of where we needed to go. However, we were almost completely soft on that one as well, and still probably could have gone a little bit lower and got more grip out of the car. So what Fastech Motorsports did is they got in contact with Feal, told them what we were doing, told them the application, our car, what we were currently running, and they basically custom built us a set that will work for what we're doing. And what we have decided to do was go with a 10K in the front again, and then we went with a 9K in the rear. But instead of just swapping spring rate and shock, we went with a true coilover in the rear, and we're gonna open these up and see how they look. Also, what I really like about Feal is the fact that the owner, creator, and also builder of these is a drifter himself, a pro drifter. So any input that I may need, I'm sure he will be there to help. So this is weird looking to me, having a true rear coilover. I'm gonna take this out and show you exactly what I mean by a true rear coilover. So this is what's different about the rear. And what this is you can see it is a shock with a spring on it. Before we had a shock that ran from here down to here, and then we had a spring that sat in this bucket. So it was kind of a divorced setup. And now we're only gonna have one item that takes place of both of those. So we are gonna have a strut and spring assembly together. So much easier to install. Hopefully it'll outperform the other setup. Overall, I think it's gonna be a good change for the team and also for the car. I think we're gonna get a lot of benefits out of this setup. The one thing we did do is we went with a Swift spring. I know that it is a higher quality spring than what normally comes on the 441s. Also, we went with 441 Plus on the system, which I do believe includes the Swift springs, but also it's kind of got custom valving from what I understand, and it will allow us to go up or down 2 kgs. So if we have a 9K on here now, we can go down to a 7 and still use this same shock body, or we can go up to an 11 and still use the same shock body. If I have listened to Odie correctly speak of it, that is what the difference is between a 441 and a 441 Plus, is the Swift springs and also the custom valving. I want to finish unboxing all this and hopefully get all of it put on and try and set the car up tonight and get her back on the ground. She's pretty lonely sitting here on these jack stands and she's ready for some suspension. This Bluetooth stuff ain't cutting it no more. So the first thing that we're gonna do is go ahead and get kind of our ride height set the way we want it, front and rear. And then once we do that, we're going to take the top hats off, pull the springs off, and then adjust from there. We'll adjust the bump stop to where we can go full travel without it hitting anything at full compression and at full droop. From there, we will adjust the ride height even further, make it more precise by either adjusting the droop or preload of the spring and this collar here. So we're gonna go ahead and throw these on at kind of a set level on the front. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, set the left and the right together, and then from there we'll throw the rears on and then set it down and see how she looks. Once we get the kind of ideal ride height we want, then we will start the process, which is included here from Feal, but I'll also link that in the description so you guys can go and look at it if you're putting the set on yourselves and want to remember this. So we got a lot of work to do and not very much time, so we're gonna get started and see how far we can get. So this is going to be a little too low, so we're going to just crank this around. It's a lot of turning. I'm exhausted already. So I've got it set, and what I've done is measured between this collar, and there's 5.5 inches here. So what I'm gonna do is just replicate this over to the other side. So I've measured this one between collar to collar, and now it's 5.5 inches. Now all I gotta do is throw that on the other side, and then the front is done for ride height set, and then we've got to pull them all apart and see what we can get for travel and do that long drawn out process. Alright, so now we have the passenger side on, and I can tell you that that was much easier putting that side on than this side, because this side we had to actually measure everything out. That side we just translated this to that and then slapped it on. So that took like 5 minutes to put on, whereas this one has taken me about 30. Now let's move on to the rear, I guess. Alright, so as expected, we are here on a new day, but yesterday I did manage to get one of the rear coilovers in, and I'll show you that real quick. Yeah, buddy. We got her nice and tight up in there. It's so close to hitting right here, like so close. And then down here, it actually didn't get near that brake line like I thought it was going to. She's all mounted up. Now I'm just adjusting ride height, throwing a wheel on and pulling it back off just to see where it falls. Once we get this side adjusted where we need it, then we're gonna do kind of what we did on the fronts and just duplicate the measurement from this side to the other side, and then we should be good to go. Drop her down on the ground. And as long as the ride height's where we want it, we'll just go ahead and take the shocks apart, take the springs out, and see what we get for travel and set that up properly, and then readjust preload and droop. So we got a lot to go, and hopefully Andrew from Fastech can get by and help us at some point, just so we can try and knock it out a little quicker, because on a jack and jack stands, this process is very, very lengthy, and with 2 people I think we can knock it out pretty quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and adjust the ride height, get it where I want it, and then do it to the other side, try and get this thing out on the ground. We got all of the coilovers mounted up. Andrew came over, We set everything up. Actually right out of the box it was pretty good. We didn't hit anything as far as travel goes. So really all we did was set the ride height and we're good to go. I don't think we're gonna be rubbing on anything, which is good. Oh, I wish I could show you guys this. I wish I could show you what it looks like now that she's finally on the ground. But there's something that's a surprise that I still can't show you. She's on the ground again. Can't zoom in anymore from this way because there's a secret here, which you guys saw in one of the previous videos. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. You can see we got a coilover here, got a coilover over here, and then we got the coilovers up front. And we are all ready to do final prep for Klutch Kickers round 3. We are a week away from heading down and trying out the suspension, and I could not be happier. Can't wait to see everybody there. Can't wait to throw down some sick tandem runs again. And it's gonna be a blast. So hopefully you guys have made it to this far to know that the next video you guys are gonna see who we've partnered with on wheels and also what they look like on the car. I will be doing another video soon on that, hopefully before next week. Excited to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these build videos now that we get to work on the car a little bit more. Y'all leave some comments down below, hit that like button, and just consider subscribing. Anyways, we'll see you guys on the next one. See you.